Hello lovely people, I hope you all are well. I wanted to share a little bit more about processing emotions. I realize that I talk a lot about emotions and processing emotions, but I haven't actually done a video specifically on processing emotions. So I thought I'd share with you how I personally do it now and give you some tips and insights and tools so you can start to do this yourself. So firstly, when I talk about processing emotions, it's really just feeling your emotions. That's it. And a lot of the times people don't feel their emotions. When you have a reaction, whether it's anger or hurt, in that moment, very often you're not feeling the emotion. You are reacting to it and you are resisting it. And whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're reacting or resisting, that is not feeling, that is not processing your emotions. You are then living in the emotion. So you really need to start by having a desire to feel, by having a desire to own your emotions no matter what comes up for you. And very often, especially when it's anger, people just don't have the desire to feel, and I've gone through this many times, and it takes, conscious effort to own, let's say in this case, your anger, and even with fear as well. So you have to start to develop a desire, I guess, to be emotionally responsible for what's going on inside of your world. Second, when it comes to feeling and processing emotions, it goes back to the intention and your desire, because if you are forcing yourself to heal and to process emotions, and I'm laughing because I've done this so many times until I realized that forcing yourself is actually resistance in itself. So really, again, it goes back to it's allowing and desiring to feel your emotions at all costs, and it's an intention, a conscious intention to be responsible emotionally for your inner world. And if you find that you are resistant, that's okay. You start where you are and then you work your way down. At least this is what I do. So you start by being honest with yourself. Whether it is, I'm fucking angry right now, or I want to kill that person. Obviously, don't act on that, but you start by being honest, and you can start by saying this out loud. Or if you're really struggling to sit with the emotion, you can journal. This is why I often, tell clients to journal, because I understand that feeling and sitting with the emotion is the hardest part, because it's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel anger or feel horrible or feel hurt. I don't. So start where you are, and start by being honest with yourself. Whatever the emotion is, and it could even be, I realize that I really don't want to own this anger. I'm so resisting this right now because, and give all of your justifications, give all of your reasons, until you've sort of let all of that out of your system. And after you've done that, that's when then you go back to your desire and your intention, and it's really about a decision, because healing and processing your emotions is a decision. It's a choice. It's a choice that you have to make to heal. At least this is the way that I see it. So once you've let it all out, let out all of your justifications and reasons, and you're completely honest with yourself about what you don't want to accept and all of that, you again go back to your intention. And by the way, I do this through my heart prayers. I'm going to put the video link to another video that I did, how to pray from your heart. And this is now the only thing that I do when it comes to processing emotions. Actually, I also journal, if you want to call that a technique, but I connect to my heart, I take some nice deep breaths, and really it's about setting a desire from your heart to heal, to feel, or whatever it is that you want to work on. To own your emotions without blaming or shaming. So you, again, connect to your heart and do that. And sometimes in the moment itself, when I start these heart prayers, the tears will come, and then I'll start my processes. Otherwise, I'll have a desire to journal about what's coming up for me, or I'll just set the desire and allow my law of attraction to show me what is the next step, what is it that I need to work on. And very often I will get, either in the next 24 hours or 48 hours, or definitely in the next week, something will show up that will show me the next step or the next layer. So that's how you start. Second, you need to understand that if you have a lot of deep emotional wounds, there will be many layers to the wound itself. And I'm going to put another link to the emotional onion layer video that I did. I think that's what I called it. So you need to understand that there will be layers. Very often, I'm just going to give you a quick example, there'll be anger at the top. And what I have found, this is just for me personally, when I'm about to reach a deep truth, there will be fear beneath the anger, and then beneath the fear, there will be grief. Obviously, this really depends on the emotional wound that you're processing. I'm just giving you some of my examples. And in terms of processing the core, it's really about your desire, how deep you want to go, and how much you can cope and handle. And one of the things that blocks a lot of people is this belief that I can't cope. People seem to get overwhelmed and then want to give up everything, and they don't want to go through the process. And from my experience, you will be overwhelmed. The emotional processes that I've been through is extremely overwhelming. They were not comfortable, and you need to trust yourself in the process. Obviously, if you haven't done this before, I do recommend you get help. But I'm just sharing with you, how I do it. So I really focus on my breath, and I focus on slowing down my breath and being fully present with that emotion, as I mentioned in the beginning, without judging it, without projecting it, without shaming or blaming myself, but really owning it and taking emotional responsibility, which is just a decision, and it's an intention and a desire that I have that comes from my heart. I really hope this is all making sense. So this is what's going to take you through the layers, and really it's about having courage to face yourself, courage to face these emotions. And to be very honest, I pray. I'm not sure if you believe in God. I personally do, and when I'm processing some core, like deep core emotions, I always pray, and I ask my guides to support me and help me, and I ask God to help me through this. And how do you know you're processing the real emotion or not? Number one, if you start to get symptoms such as headaches and muscle aches and pains, or feeling really tired, stomach pains, backache, this to me, this is just my experience and my client's experience, this means you are resisting. You're not wanting to feel your emotions. Headaches is a classic. You're trying to intellectualize and you're trying to process it in your head. And you're not going to be able to do it that way. This is about you feeling everything inside of your body and just being fully present with all of your senses, and allowing yourself to feel. And when you access this core grief, which is at the bottom of every emotional wound, at least from my experience, it is such a relief. And when you really grieve the healing grief, what I call it, you want to continue, you want to grieve, and in the moment you feel the relief of this grief. If you are crying from the space of a victim, you will feel heavy, you will feel burdened, you'll feel stuck, and basically you are living in the emotion and you're just crying because you're not getting what you want. Basically, you're throwing an emotional tantrum because life isn't changing for you. And you'll start to get these, why me? Why is this happening to me? Rather than really experiencing the grief, the emotion. When you experience the core grief, it's almost like, this is just for me, you have no time to think of why me, or yes, you may get thoughts, but you're so immersed in the relief of the grief, and it's really the emotion is acceptance. I don't know how to describe it, and I really hope this is making sense. So you're grieving, but you're fully accepting the emotion and whatever happened. And like I said, once you truly process this at the causal level, very often for me, after, I will have insights, I'll have realizations, I will feel lighter, and I'll have a sense of peace for a few days, maybe a week or two, until the next wound emerges and I have to process something else. And what I have found for me personally is my law of attraction will change immediately. I'll put another link to another video that I did about how my law of attraction changed immediately, and it hasn't happened since, when I processed my road rage. My road rage for people that were cutting me off. But anyway, long story short, this is how you know you've really accessed and processed, core grief. A lot of people fear accessing these core wounds because they fear that they will lose themselves in the emotion and get lost in it and wallow in it. And if you, obviously, as I mentioned before, if you don't know how to do this, please get help and seek professional help. But really, the only way out is through. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck in patterns and wallowing in this emotion. And if you're stuck in that emotion, you're not processing it. You're living in it, and you don't know how to navigate your darkness, basically, your emotional darkness. So yeah, I kind of hope that makes sense. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. I talked about the heart prayers, the layers, your intention, the law of attraction changing. Yeah, so that's it really. I hope this helps. I hope this makes sense. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you're struggling to really feel, then journal. I find journaling is super grounding. And even through journaling, I've had loads of breakthroughs when things come up, and stick to it. See if you can do it in one go rather than stop and start. And if you have an emotion or an experience that you want to process, I always recommend you journal until you feel you have expressed that emotion and that experience fully and completely in writing, until you feel like an energy shift. At least this is how I do it. But yeah, I hope that kind of helps. If you have any questions, maybe you can put them on the comments and I can do a follow-up video if anything wasn't clear. But really, processing emotions is just feeling the emotion, and it's desiring to feel. Not forcing yourself through this, but really having a desire to heal, to set yourself free. Because otherwise, you are keeping yourself stuck and living with these emotional wounds, and nothing's going to change from this space. You're only going to repeat patterns and basically make yourself sick, because these emotions will eventually affect your body. It will affect your thoughts, it will affect your behavior, it's going to affect your relationship patterns. And really, you need to have a stronger desire to heal. And also, I guess you need to have courage to face yourself and have faith in the process, faith in yourself. And like I said, I pray and I focus on my breath. As long as I'm breathing, I'm alive. And yeah, and if you pull yourself through, you will get to the other side and you will feel lighter, you'll feel more joy, you'll feel more peace, and your law of attraction will start to change. And once you experience this once, then you will start to have more faith in the process. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. That's it for today. Bye for now.